Hello, and welcome back to the Misty Morrison podcast. I'm your host, Misty Morrison, and this is episode 71 of Was I in the Wrong? Here on the Misty Morrison podcast, we love to read or listen. We love to give advice and help people look back on their situations with that 2020 vision to see how they could have handled the situations more gracefully. Before we get into our stories for the day, our usual housekeeping, whether you are new or returning, please remember to engage with the content to help the channel grow. I am trying to build my dream. Every little bit of online engagement can help, and it's free. If you are listening on podcast, please leave a 5-star review if you liked it. Anywhere else, give it a thumbs up, a like, a heart. Subscribe for more. Press the bell icon to be notified every time I post a new video. Leave a comment with your thoughts on the stories down below. Share it with a friend. All the things. Long-form content goes live every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 a.m. on podcast and YouTube. Short-form content goes live 3 times daily across YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. All right, into our stories for the day. Story number 1 is coming to us from r/am I overreacting? AIO for telling my roommate's mother she's not in charge of me and my other roommates. I'm using fake names. 20 female, share a house with my 3 roommates, Nico, 21 male, his girlfriend Stacy, 19 female, and Robert, 21 male. Now the problem here is Robert's mother, Caroline, 52 female, who is the definition of a helicopter mother. She's constantly calling him and showing up to the house without any of us being told. The other day, Stacy and I were getting ready to go out after finishing a hard week of classes and stress at our jobs. We were dressed in party-type clothes. As we were leaving, Caroline told us that we shouldn't dress like that, and our parents wouldn't like seeing their daughters dressed like harlots. Yet, yes, she called us harlots. I told her she's not in charge of us, and if she didn't like it, to stop showing up. She called me disrespectful for speaking to an elder that way in her son's house. I told her it was only 25% his house. After we left, Nico told us that Caroline tried talking to Robert, telling him that he should keep a better eye on us. Nico told her to leave after that. Robert says that we shouldn't have told his mother that she should stop showing up and that I overreacted to her comment. So, am I overreacting for telling her that she isn't in charge of me and my other roommates? No. Because it's a fact. She's not in charge of you and the other roommates. Her son is 21 years old. She's not in charge of him anymore either. Just to think yes, they're kids in her mind, but these kids are all adults, and to think you can just go and tell them how to dress and how their parents would feel about it, you don't have that right. Was your comment necessarily nice? But neither was hers. Fair is fair. You didn't overreact. It sounds like you've put up with this for a long time, and she finally pushed you too far. You were right. Story number 2 is coming to us from r/am I overreacting? AIO for breaking up with my boyfriend because he wouldn't help with vet bills. AIO for breaking up with my boyfriend because he wouldn't help with vet bills. I, 27 female, I read that twice because there was a title and then it was the first sentence of the story. I, 27 female, have a 12 male cat, and he was recently diagnosed with arthritis and early onset diabetes. With medication, he could go into remission for this. I've had to take him to the vet multiple times in the past 3 weeks, and my wallet is drying up. On Sunday, I wake up and my cat's front right leg is swollen and he won't walk on it or eat anything. He's extremely lethargic, and I know something is wrong. The issue is I don't get paid until next week, and I'm completely broke. Like $0 and 0 cents broke. My boyfriend of 3 years, 34 male, currently lives at home and has virtually no bills. And the last time I needed help paying a big bill was willing to help me. My wisdom teeth removal a year ago, and I paid him back ASAP 2 weeks. He is not crazy wealthy, but he is extremely good at savings, and I know he has almost $20,000 in one account alone. Nice. I was extremely emotional because a swollen leg is a huge deal for a cat, and combined with his other issues, this could be deadly. I reached out to my boyfriend and asked if he'd be able to help, and I'd pay him back when I got paid. He said no. And I understand he's under no obligation to help me at all, but the reasons he gave me for saying no were that I just needed to accept that my cat was old and I shouldn't go into debt for my cat. He said he didn't want me into debt for a cat, and that's just a sad reality for older cats. I told him that if I could get my cat help, he wouldn't be dying. If I don't take him to the vet, he will die. He basically told me that while it's sad, it's nothing I should go into debt for. I was crushed. This, plus some other smaller issues, led me into breaking up with him. My friends think I'm overreacting and that he doesn't owe me anything. And while I understand that, what I don't understand is how he can be so cold. Am I overreacting for breaking up with my boyfriend? There's an update, but I will give my initial reaction first. Are you overreacting for breaking up with him over this? I understand that you didn't break up with him over the vet bill because he wouldn't give you money. I understand that's not the reason. The reason you broke up is because this was like the last nail in the coffin of several smaller things, and this was just especially cold and cruel considering how much you care about your cat, the things that he said. I don't think you're overreacting. Animals have different values to different people. So if this is how you value yours, I don't think you're overreacting. Especially because it's not just this one incident. It seems like you said it's more of a pattern of behavior. And he could have said no and given you a reason in a less cold way, knowing how you feel about your cat. So no, I don't think you overreacted. The update. I was able to borrow some money from my mom and one of my managers at work. I took my cat to the emergency vet, and at first they thought it was a diabetic crisis, but after doing a glucose test, they ruled that out since his levels were normal and within range. They suspect maybe it's an infection and gave me antibiotics and some pain medication. He was also dehydrated, but they think that's because he was too tired to walk over to the water bowl. I've added more water bowls around the house, and when I brought him home, I placed him by the water and he drank some. My cat is currently in his comfy bed and sleeping since his medicine makes him drowsy, and I will be monitoring him for any changes. Hopefully this resolves the swelling and we can go back to business as usual. The bill total was $590.37. After I broke up with my ex-boyfriend on Monday, I didn't hear from him until this morning when he texted saying, "How much do you need? I'll give you the money." I honestly don't know what to think now. I just wanted to clarify that all I wanted was to borrow money to get my cat checked out because I didn't want him to be in pain. If we had gone to the vet and they told me euthanasia was the best option, I would have moved forward with that. I have no intention of making my cat suffer because I want him to live forever. I will continue to follow the advice and recommendations of my vet. Thank you to everyone who commented, whether or not you thought I was overreacting. All feedback was needed and appreciated. Most of you were very kind and offered extremely helpful advice, and I'm so grateful that so many of you took the time to help ease my mind and give tips and resources. Even some of the not-so-nice comments were enlightening and helped me realize some of my mistakes. Thank you again, everyone. If I have any further developments and anyone is interested, I'll update again. Now I'm thinking because, you broke up with him and days later he's like, "I'll give you the money." So did you not make it clear that you broke up with him not because of the money? Because it seems like he thought about it for a while and he wanted you back and literally tried to buy you back. You didn't mention anything about him apologizing for what he said. He was just like, "All right, if this is about money, I'll give you money." And without further context, I don't like that. This is very messy. But people have broken up over less. Story number 3 is coming to us from r/Am I Overreacting? AIO if I divorce over him asking to open our relationship and then gaslighting me. And this one is one of these picture-based ones that I normally don't pick on, but the little bit I saw looked interesting. So here we go. We will read, okay, so they're going to give context, but we'll read the messages first and then read the context that they gave. There's 6 screenshots to go through. And it doesn't say oh yeah, blue is the sender. So blue over here is ROP and gray over here is whoever. Who was it? Divorce, husband. Okay. It's a conversation. Husband, it's a conversation we have to have in general anyway. Wife, fine. Husband, general things to go over. 1, bringing others around baby. When, how to communicate. 2, dating others. How do we make that work? Wife, 1, she's old enough to have people around for a bit longer, but I personally still am going to need warnings before anybody's at the house. Today was too much. 2, we don't. Husband, oh, that's not what I meant. As for the first one, I didn't know they were coming yesterday either. Wife, you led me on while knowing you like somebody else. Husband, no, that's really not it. Wife, it is. Husband, okay. I liked her. It's been a while. Wife, and yet you're still asking about dating her. Husband, I should have worded that better. That's not what I meant. Wife, come on. Husband, let me explain myself. Wife, okay. Husband, friend 1 told me that crush, found out about that old crush, asked me about it, and I gave a, that's old, kind of was just getting over X response. He asked relationship stuff, I mentioned you, he asked how you felt about it, and assumed weren't dating for some reason. He's normally smarter than me and asks good questions, so he gave me a few things to ask you. I picked the ones I actually wanted to know, and failed to realize how he worded that. The correct thing would be, 2, how do you feel about me still being friends with somebody I wanted to date? Wife, oh, don't bullshit me. Husband, fully on me, I really should have checked closer while typing. Wife, how stupid do you think I am? There is no way to accidentally type that. Husband, you're smarter than me. Wife, dating others, how do we make that work? You can't do that by accident. Husband, have you never read a list and just typed it without thinking? I don't think you're stupid, you should know that. I'm used to reciting messages. I saw a message, I reset it without rewording. Wife, nope, you didn't. I feel so insanely gaslit right now. That isn't possible. Those are 2 completely different concepts. Just admit you were testing the waters to see if it was a possibility. I'd be much less upset about that. You don't ask about dating others if it's not about dating others. Husband, it was a mix of both. I didn't know if you also wanted to look elsewhere, and it was a good way to ask while also having an out since friend 1 also kind of asked. Wife, why did you try and lie? Husband, panic. I realized how bad that sounded and lied out of habit to try and fix it so you wouldn't leave. Wife, I could tell. Don't do that. Husband, I didn't mean to. I was just typing things before I even thought. I'm sorry. Wife, I can't forgive you right now. Husband, I'll work on it. You deserve better than that. Wife replied to that message with a thumbs up. That was a lot. So here is the text section. This was originally posted 13 days ago. Okay, so here's some context since I don't think the messages can fully stand alone. My 27 female husband, 28 male, and I have only been married 6 months. We have a 1-month-old baby girl. Today, 2 of our college friends came over unannounced to meet the baby. I was very frustrated by this and assumed he had invited them because he didn't seem at all surprised for them to show up. I had a very difficult pregnancy and have been having a horrible time recovering, so I really just wanted to rest. One of the 2 college friends is a woman my husband used ? To have a crush on. This isn't something we've really directly talked about, but it was just basic knowledge in our shared circles at college. They still keep in contact, but I wasn't aware it was high contact or even really still a friendship. After they left, I was a bit grouchy and my husband could tell. He had to go to work later that night and was texting me while on a short break. This is that conversation. This is a break conversation overnight while you're at work? He asked me about dating others out of the blue. I'm accepting of polyamory and he does know that, but I have never expressed any interest in that for myself. Am I overreacting for considering a divorce here? There's an update. Initially, you don't mention anything about past cheating, emotional affairs, or that there's anything else wrong with your relationship except this one time that he asked about dating others. You didn't say he's tried to. If there's no behavior to support that he would go and do this even after you said no, you don't want that for your relationship. If there's no behavior to support it, then this seems like a small thing to divorce over. Like he was interested in something, he asked the question, you said no, and it can end there for you guys to go on and continue having a monogamous relationship if that's what you want. Just from what you've said here, it does seem like overreacting to divorce over one question. Edit to add, update April 21st. This will be my only update unless something massive happens. I'm not looking to create one of those Reddit sagas that drag on 5 updates. Okay, so I know they all say this, but I really did not expect it to blow up like this. I've posted to AIO subreddits before because I know of my tendency to be emotional. It usually comes out to 2 or 3 comments saying not a big deal. I was honestly expecting to get some sort of reassurance that he did make an honest mistake and I could let it out of my mind. Maybe that sounds a bit silly to you all, but I'm severely doubting myself due to postpartum hormones, and I'm prone to doubt all my feelings. I wanted thoughts of people in their right mind. When I instantly got that many comments telling me divorce, I called up several friends and my sister. I'm not trusting Reddit to make the decision, so no worries to those who warned against that. While obviously they were less quick to jump to leave him, everybody I asked agreed his behavior was very inappropriate and something had to be done here. When he came home last night, we had a real face-to-face conversation and he elaborated further. I asked to see the list. He admitted there wasn't a list, but his friend had asked if he was planning on being with Crush. I asked why friend hadn't known we were together. He said that friend didn't know we were in a closed relationship. He couldn't explain why. I asked about more things, but it was mostly me expressing how hurt I feel. He seemed to understand it and started to really feel bad for it. He knew immediately he'd be taking care of the baby tonight so I could get a good night's sleep. I was too stressed for it really, but I appreciated the gesture. I've explained to him that I'm deeply uncomfortable with him being with others and will never be open to it. He says that's okay. I told him that I want to look through his phone and he let me. He had very sparse messages with both Crush and Friend. Unsure if they just don't text much or if he deleted things. There's no way to know, so I left that factor be. I also told him I wanted him to get therapy, which he easily agreed to. I know it's not what most of you wanted, but I'm not jumping straight to divorce. Our face-to-face interaction went better than the text one, and I really believe he can change. I want baby to have her father. Answering some questions that came up repeatedly quickly. Why did this happen over text? I don't know. He says he's more comfortable when he has time to gather his thoughts. I'd prefer it to be face-to-face and told him as much. But you said you were accepting of polyamory. Yes, I just support other people's right to it. I thought this may have been how he got the idea I would be okay with this. Why did you marry him? And some much more insulting variations. This wasn't his first date icebreaker. He's been a kind person I connect to a lot. I had no way of predicting this, and you can't determine that he has no positive traits I may have fallen for off this one exchange. Have you ever been poly? No. Is he good with baby? Yes, he does great with baby and has never been a concern. He loves her dearly. Lied out of habit? I did catch that one too. He grew up in an abusive environment. I did too, and it's part of why I connected with him deeply, and had to lie for survival. It's a habit he's struggling to break, but he's never doubled down this many times before. Thank you all very much for the support and helping me see that this is something that definitely needed to be addressed. Sorry to any stress I may have caused anybody. TLDR, we are trying to work it out. Relationship will not be opening. He's getting therapy. I think this is a fantastic solution. Like, I felt like this is the way it should have gone. Not to divorce over a question, not to jump the gun here, but to work on things, to express like, hey, we don't need to have important conversations like this over text, like that there was really a breakdown in communication maybe. You need to go to therapy so you can work through those feelings of wanting that, because that is not going to be something we have together. And you need to work on your lying habits so I can trust you. He let you go through his phone, all the things. I think you could even go further and say, I don't want you to be friends with those people anymore. Because they were generally, I don't like spouses telling each other, oh, you can't be friends with this person. But if this person was became a barrier in your relationship, became an obstruction in your relationship, then I think it's fair to say you don't need that person in your life. They're threatening our marriage. I think that's fair. ETA update, April 28th. I did my own research. I actually found all of this a couple of days ago, but my priority hasn't really been Reddit. I'm still not sure if physical cheating was involved, but I can confirm that he was telling both crush and friend that we were in the process of getting a divorce and he was basically single. They seemed shocked to learn this wasn't true. There were deleted texts as well, thanks to everybody who told me how to see these. Nothing overtly romantic with crush, but the kinds of texts that just sound flirty, even without anything being explicitly said. You hang out, no you hang out type of tone. Obviously now we are in the process of getting a divorce, and he's basically single. Me and baby will be fine. I'll be staying with my sister, which isn't ideal, but I'm in too much pain to manage baby alone. Comments are locked now, and I doubt anybody will even see this. But for the I told you so crowd, I'm very glad I took my time to see what was happening and do research before immediately jumping into a divorce. I'd hoped the discrepancies were caused by his compulsive lying issue, which was a mental health problem that could be fixed. Infidelity or attempted infidelity is not something I've ever seen a therapist fix, and it's not something I'll stay through. But for my own mental health, knowing is so much better than thinking. I didn't want to live with that self-doubt forever, and I'm glad I won't have to now. Not making any further updates unless soon-to-be ex kills a man or the like. The divorce proceedings don't seem very relevant to the story. Thank you all for the insight. Okay, I did wonder. I'm really glad she came back and did another update. I did wonder whenever she said there were very few texts between them. I thought it was a jump for just a few texts to get to, can we date other people? So I did wonder if he deleted things, like were the messages in context. So I am glad that you got the advice you needed. You went and searched for the deleted messages and found what you needed to know. Now knowing whether it was physical cheating or intended infidelity, now knowing what you know and knowing that he lied about something this important, I'm glad that you are just going ahead and getting out before it gets worse. Yeah. That was a roller coaster. It was like, no divorce, no divorce, divorce. Yeah, I think you made the right call for you, and I'm really glad to see that, like, you didn't jump the gun. You were willing to work it out, but you found the evidence that existed to show you that working it out wasn't the right call. Yeah. That felt like a lot. Okay, that is 3 stories for this week's episode of Was I in the Wrong? Thank you so much for being here for another episode of the Misty Morrison podcast. Remember, start each day with a grateful heart. Kindness changes everything. I'll see you guys next time.